Good evening, everyone. It's Scott Brown here on day 58 of Darren LaCroix's 90-day Facebook Live Challenge. And tomorrow morning is the area contest out here in Indiana for Toastmasters, for the International Speech Contest. First real round of contest tomorrow, the area contest, which is unusual because generally you have club contests before you end up with area contests. But here they have so much trouble getting people to want to participate in club contests that most every club just appoints someone to represent them at the area level. And it's really unusual for me. It's not something I've seen before. Because when I was in Orlando, we would have sometimes 6 speakers at the club level vying for either 1 or 2 spots to move on to the area level, depending upon how many clubs were in that area. Some clubs are able to send 2 representatives to the area contest. Some are only able to send 1, depending upon how many clubs were in that area. But people really wanted to compete. And then you get to the area contests, and depending upon how many clubs there, if there are only 4 clubs and then each club could send 2 representatives, you'd have an area contest with 8 contestants, which is a big deal. It takes a long time to get through these contests. That's a lot of people coming together to speak, and it was a big ordeal to put those together. The difference here is area contest tomorrow, we have, I've heard, 5 contestants over 3 areas. Total of 5 contestants for 3 areas. And as much as I love doing the International Speech Contest and I love competing, it's disappointing that there aren't more people there. It's definitely disappointing because I think there's a lot to gain from competition of any sort. And it shouldn't be that the win or the loss is really the thing that matters the most. But when you're competing and you're trying to win something, you're trying to do better than you've ever done before. You're trying to push yourself past your limits. You're trying to push yourself beyond what you thought was possible in order to accomplish something else. It happens in sports, it happens in business, and it happens at Toastmasters as we compete for international speech trophies. Or if you're in other districts besides this, you compete for evaluation trophies and you compete for table topics and humorous speech. But competition breeds growth. You don't get better unless you're trying to compete to win. You're trying to compete against yourself. You're competing against other people that are trying to get better. Competition helps you grow. Because it's never great to be the best one in the room. If you're settling to always be the best person in the room, then no one's out there pushing you to be better. Teams like LSU, Chad Hooper, I see you out there. Teams like LSU are being pushed to be the best versions of themselves in every sport because the SEC is so hyper competitive. And they're trying to always get better. They're always competing. You see sports teams, especially college teams, coming together to form super conferences because they want to compete with other great teams to try to raise their level of performance. They want to get better. They want to be able to win a national championship because they want to be the best they can be. And they know that by stepping back in competition, they might dominate, but they're not going to grow. And the same holds true for everything else we do in life. If you're settling to be the best person in the room, you're never going to reach your maximum potential. You're going to get stagnated at the highest point that you think you can go. But there's always going to be somebody else out there that's a little bit better than you. And unless you're actively seeking those people out to push you to move past where you think you can go, then you're never going to find that ceiling. You're never going to find where it is that you are meant to go, that your potential can take you. So don't settle to be the best person in the room. If you ever have a chance to compete, compete. Not just in Toastmasters International Speech Competitions, but in anything that you do. Competition definitely breeds growth. Now, can competition get beyond what it's supposed to be? Absolutely. Hyper-competitiveness can breed contempt. If you're having people on your team compete with each other for limited resources, you're not building a team, you're building a competition, and you're kind of building a Hunger Games organization. And that's not the way anybody wants to work. But if you're building competition to help people grow, that's different. Because growth is the cornerstone of everything that's going to come next. what happened yesterday is never going to be good enough for tomorrow. So unless you find a way to get better tomorrow than you were yesterday, you're going to get left behind because someone is going to pass you. Someone's going to pass you. So if you do ever have the chance to compete, know that the journey matters. Because the journey, in order to get there, all the practice you put in, the preparation you put in, the blood, sweat, and tears, all the times you lose, all of those things build character, they build resilience, they build grit, and they help you get to where you're trying to go. So I'm giving a speech tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about Turn the Page again tomorrow. And for a lot of Orlando Toastmasters, you've heard me talk about Turn the Page for a few years now, for quite a few years now. Brand new version with a couple of new stories tied in there that I haven't really told before. But I'm using the same sort of theme. And the reason why I retired some of the old stories is sometimes competition brings out the worst in people. And last year, I got to sit in an area contest and listen to my speech be given by somebody else immediately before I went on stage. And it was one of the most disturbing things that I've ever had happen in a competition. To be plagiarized in front of you. It's difficult. Because it's not supposed to be about the win or the loss. It's not supposed to be about chasing the trophy. As Darren LaCroix says, if you want a trophy that bad, just go out and buy your own and get it monogrammed with whatever it is that you want to put on it, and no one's going to probably question you. It's way easier. But if you want to grow through the process, don't shortchange it and try to steal somebody else's story, somebody else's growth, and take it as your own. It's never going to work. In the long term, cheaters never win. They never end up reaching their full potential during that time. So tomorrow I compete. Tomorrow I hope to move forward into a division contest. We'll see how many people I get to compete against tomorrow. But whether or not I have a bunch of people to compete against, I know I'm going to be competing against myself and against the ghosts of the past and the ghosts of the past losses that I've had. So hopefully we'll go farther this year. We'll see what happens. But if not, then I guess we'll move on and just become a division director. So until tomorrow, my friends, have a great night. And remember, competition can be great if it's viewed in the right light. Have a good night, folks.